Hey, this is Michael with digitaltshirtshop.com. So, wanted to just go through the sales with you really fast. So, we started this in January. The idea was, could we put together a business? And what's it really like to put together a business? What are some of the obstacles you have? What are some of the challenges? How hard is it to get sales? So, I took an existing t-shirt business and completely started a new business with a new brand and new designs, new websites, new social media, new everything, um, and have taken you along the journey with it to see if we could hit a goal of averaging 20 shirts a day. Um, this is what we've done. So January, we didn't. We started, I think, January 28th, no sales. February, no sales. March, a trickle of sales, 16 sales, as you can see right here. At that time, we still didn't have Amazon up. By the next month in April, so it took us about 2 months to get Amazon up and going. In April, we got our first Amazon sales. We started to have, some more Etsy sales. At the same time, I believe we were adding quite a few new products. We did have kind of a few outlier sales. Somebody bought, we had a bunch of sales there, a bunch of sales there. I think somebody bought 40 shirts here in May, which was a little unexpected. Otherwise, we would have been closer to 40 sales, but our sales were gradually increasing month to month. Uh, June was a good month for us as we were continuing to see an increase in sales, excluding that 40 from here. And then we hit July, and in July, I decided to try selling total Eclipse t shirts. Now, it's just was kind of a natural phenomenon. It was taking advantage of an opportunity. And towards the end of July, we really started to see a spike in sales because of those Eclipse t shirts that we were putting online. And I kind of had an idea they would probably go up in stages. A couple of stages, we'd see sales, they'd go up even more, and then they probably would peak a week before the eclipse, and then we'd probably see a decrease for a few days before the eclipse, and then I thought they would probably trickle off. So um, you can see here we were going from sporadic sales, with some decent sales days. There's a 12, there's a 10, to some more consistent sales through July. And then all of a sudden, we started hitting 20 shirts a day right here, and then they dropped off, and then they started to go up again. And then once we hit the 1st of August, just a couple weeks out from the eclipse, all of a sudden they just skyrocketed up to 40, 50, 65, 67. So we peaked at 67 shirts. Now, these probably could have been a lot better. I probably could have sold a lot more shirts than this if I sold shirts with on black shirts with white ink. It would have been ideal for an eclipse, and I actually did sell a few of them through. We did a we ran a Facebook deal where we had sold some shirts through. Oh, I'm trying to remember the name, but it was one of those. Excuse me, Facebook ads tied to a third party seller that would print and sell the shirts. And I had a suspicion my mom had bought some of the shirts. She wants to have anything that I sell. Anyways, so she ended up getting the shirts, and they looked fabulous. I mean, they really did. They're black shirt, white printing. They actually really did look good. Um, and so, at that point, I kind of really did realize that, we were at a disadvantage. And honestly, what we sold the most of, especially here on Amazon, were infant and toddler shirts. I just don't think there were as many people offering infant and toddler uh, style T-shirts. Otherwise, those sales probably would have been a lot less, or maybe they just happened to like one of our designs that was more kid friendly. I'm not sure. So, um, anyways, but that's kind of what happened there. And you could see we had great sales going all the way through August so far. We're on the 24th of August. We're right here, the morning of the 24th. We haven't had any sales yet, but even yesterday we had, I mean, 18 sales. The day of the eclipse, the day after, 36 and 49 sales. And again, these are all sold at retail, so we're not wholesaling these to anybody. There were bulk sales all sold at retail. Um, so there's some good sales. We hit so far this month 824 shirts this month. We were started at 16, 33, 80, 67, 355, and then 824. And I'm really honestly expecting next month to probably closer to the 2 to 300 if I'm just what I would project. Um, I'm assuming we'll probably still have a trickle of sales coming in. I would think that with our increased sales, more people are aware of us. I guess it would be a little sad if we drop down to 80 to 100 or somewhere between 80 and 150 t-shirts. It's still decent sales, but if we could get closer to 200, that would be much, much better. 30 days, if you think about that, for every 100 t-shirts, we're selling about 3 t-shirts a day. So 200 would be about 6 t-shirts a day. Back here in June, we were averaging 2.6 t-shirts a day. Here in July, 16 t-shirts a day. And here in, let's see, right, yeah, I guess. Oh, that's not right. 11 t-shirts a day. Um, and then in 1, 2, 3, 11 t-shirts a day, and then here in August, since we're not even through the month yet, we're averaging so far 35 t-shirts a day, which far exceeds the 20 t-shirts a day. Now, really honestly, my goal is the 20 t-shirts a day consistently month to month. We did take advantage of um, this deal going on with the Eclipse t-shirts. And really, honestly, that's, if I mean, there's still a chance we could hit 1,000 t-shirts for the month. I mean, honestly, we're only 175, 176 t-shirts away. If we sold 25 t-shirts a day, we could do that. Um, if they if they kind of stay around the 10 to 15, obviously we won't. We'll probably, we'll be over 900. But if we have a couple of days with big sales again like this, there's obviously a chance that we could. So we'll see what happens. But that kind of shows you what happened with the Eclipse t-shirts and what that did for our business. And definitely when we look at the numbers, we are going to have made a profit on this. I remember looking back in June and probably beginning of July, looking at the numbers going, we're hardly making any money. We're hardly making any money. Um, Mr. Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful would not be very pleased with us and our business decision to even start this business. But when you do a home business, really honestly, it's to uh, earn a little bit of income to supplement your household income and be able to do a little bit more because you've sacrificed some of your time and you've tried to develop a business and tried to sell the product and bring in some additional income. And not everybody's into that. Some people don't want to make those sacrifices. Some people don't want the risk that's associated with that. My wife and I would be kind of a perfect example of that. Me, I love doing this. I love starting businesses. I've got ideas. I want to do them all. My wife doesn't want to do any of them. She would love to have just a full time job that um, gave us a income that we could depend on and not have any of this other stuff. And those are two it's two different personalities, and I understand where she comes from because her father owned a cabinet business his whole life, and he struggled off and on, and ultimately ended up losing his business with the housing when the housing market crashed a few years back. So I understand those things, but I still would love the opportunity to do things like these, and so I do them. And I'm sure there is a full spectrum of people and personalities out there, as and feelings as to start one or not start one, take the risk, don't take the risk, put in high risk, put in low risk. um, and I have lots of capital. I don't. I'm willing to risk it. I'm not. And in this case, we started a business that was, I think, very low risk and low capital. Uh, Really, honestly, I put only a little bit of money, a few $100s into this business. We're making an assumption that we're leasing a machine, when I already have one from my existing business. But if you take that aside, we really only put a few $100s into this business to get it off the ground. A lot of it was just putting things in place and creating content, and then our labor, the time, putting the time into it. I've been making, I haven't really been counting these videos, but these videos are intended to be some of the marketing as well. Designing the shirts, adding the shirts to the website, doing some of the social media, just that time that's associated with putting into the business. And you hope that over time it will pay off and the business will grow and be able to sustain itself. So, and something like this, there are fads that come and go as well, and that's something that we need to take into account. So we've done a lot of these word phrase T-shirts. It could be in 2 years that those are really out, and you can't sell a single one because nobody's interested in them, and there could be, the interest that people have could be completely different. And it's hard to believe they'd be completely out, um, but you never know. You got to keep things relevant. You got to keep changing. You got to keep adding new, desirable content. And that's one of the things I've been thinking about as I've been structuring how I add these to Amazon, how I add them to Etsy, and then going through a year from now, maybe around January, and determining what should stay and what should go. And I really should probably go through and purge anything that we have no sales on, and then turn around and add new content. But I do want to give it enough time to sell, and we'll kind of see how that goes. So, but there you go. There's the sales numbers. There's a little bit of, I guess, my philosophy behind some of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and if it were me, I would encourage people to do it. I would encourage people to come up with something and sell it. I find it very satisfying, um, very fulfilling to have created something and found success with it. And really, honestly, you will never attain that highest level of success unless you don't take some risk. I mean, you really have. There are people that it falls in their lap and it's just given to them. But I would say for 90% of the people, or 95% of the people out there, it's not. They had to do something in order to be successful. They had to take some level of risk in order to achieve some level of success. So, and right now this looks successful. Who knows? A couple months from now, will it look equally successful or will it not? And a lot of that will be dependent upon what we put into it, I think. So, there you go. DigitalT-shirtShop.com. Subscribe to us. We'd love to have you follow us and see where we end up, as far as a successful business or not. Right now, things look great. And August, it was great for us, and hopefully that is not all the greatness we see. And only time will tell. But again, thanks. Don't forget to follow us.